Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. Used to juggle apps all night, Zoom calls, edits, nothing felt right. Export this, but don't do that. Too many steps, too many hats. Now I hit record and breathe. Everything I need's in front of me. From my screen to what I say, it's all in one place. One click away, no more stress, no delay. I create my way. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. Solo talk or bring a friend. Two more voices we can blend. Screen share for the things I show. Walk them through it nice and slow. Logo sitting in the frame. Watermark with my name. No more tools to complicate. Everything just integrates. Draft appears when I'm done. Creation just got fun. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. No more record, export, upload. That old workflow had to go. Now it's simple, fast, and clean. All inside one single screen. Desktop set, I press and play. Build my audience every day. From my voice to what they see. This is how it's meant to be. 10 subscribers, you're in the game. 1080 clarity, crisp and plain. Audio mode, yeah, that's there too. Podcast streams are coming through. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. Whoa. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the Substack
Studio Spotlight.
Studio Spotlight.
All right, Mr. Q. Hey, it's Keith Keller, Melbourne, Australia. Sorry about that funky song. It takes LinkedIn about 45 seconds to find me. But we're live on LinkedIn, Substack, and YouTube simultaneously. How cool is that? And that's exactly what we do. That's exactly what we're talking about here. What we're talking about today is Substack Studio. And I'm going to primarily focus on audio-only mode today. You can indeed have your camera on in your own show if you want to, but we'll talk about that later. Looks a little bit like this. You can have your own show with your own thing. You can have 2 people online, or you can have up to 3 people if you want to do it that way. So we'll talk a bit about that over the course of the time. It'll just go for an hour or so. We'll talk if we can. What's your take on this, Heidi? Welcome to the call. Tell us how you're using Substack, and I'd love to hear your take on what we're doing here.
Sounds great. Yeah, well, I've been on Substack since November of last year. I started off writing and then very quickly jumped into a live call, not knowing what it was. Had a blast and have since then done more live events than I can count. I've decided that it seems I'm everyone's person who introduces them to doing a live. I've had so many people on who are like, I've never done a live before, and then we do it. So something I didn't tell you, Keith, was this weekend I tried something a little different. So I do, for my podcast, I have Riverside. And so there is the new option on Substack to use the RTMP stream and to feed it
Wow.
through Riverside. So my hubby is my tech person. And so this weekend I was like, we have got to try this out, because in a week and a half, I am hosting through Riverside to Substack a live event with 6 other therapists. So there will be 7 of us on the call, which, as you know, with live events on Substack, it's just 3. And so, yeah, we'll be testing that out. So those are some of the things that I'm doing on Substack.
I love this. Let's pause here for a minute. This is the maximum you can do on Substack Studio. This is actually the live streaming feature, but the features are exactly the same inside and out. So
Yeah.
the Substack Studio is basically a pre-recorded version of the live streaming feature, which they invented about a year ago. So you don't have to go live to get all the goodies. But Riverside, oh man, this is the gourmet. This is the Ferrari. Riverside.fm is arguably the best place, like in the whole internet, to record things. High quality audio, high quality video, quite effective, lots of tools. Can you tell us a bit about that for those that haven't heard of it? It's really good. Like, tell me why you love it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I started off streaming through Spotify, and they had Spotify for creators, and you could do everything right in Spotify. And then everything changed. And now to do editing, you needed some sort of editing software. And I ended up with Riverside. I don't even know how. It was like, it felt like jumping into the deep end. It was a lot. I've since gotten a little bit more proficient, and I love it. So even with my regular lives that I do on Substack, where there's like 2 or 3 of us, I will, once I'm done the live and it's safe to draft, I will actually download the video. I'll take it over into Riverside. I'll polish it up. I'll add my music, everything else, and I'll drop it back into Substack as my fully polished podcast version. And so I love the fact that, like, even if I'm doing a live with someone and their sound isn't great, because that does happen a lot, as I'm sure you know, I can take it over to Riverside and I can apply studio quality, and it takes like less than a minute, and you listen back to it and it sounds like it's been recorded with professional mics in the studio.
Fix it in the mix. That's what we call it. Fix it in the mix.
Yeah. And it also, I mean, it has lots of little bells and whistles, like, hey, remove all the ums and ahs, and boom, it does it. Look for unnecessary chatter that might be, stuff you don't want to include, and it'll give options on, I can actually just choose to ignore it if I'm like, no, I do want that in, or if I'm like, yeah, that is kind of unnecessary. And it'll even tell me why it's removing this. If removing this will make the speaker sound clearer in their direction or whatever. So it's got lots of great options. Yeah.
And I'm guessing that's AI doing all that for you, but that's a very good use case for AI, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Now,
you can manually go through and remove things as well, and it's super easy to do. So it just depends on how much time you have and want to spend on it. So
yeah, I've often said that convenience is a product.
Yeah.
Like, Substack is free, and for the price, it's very good.
Yes.
It's free. You can't beat free, but it's not easy. Right? So, like an automatic car, like you couldn't give me a manual car. There's no way in the world I would drive a manual car. Even if you bought me one and put it in my driveway, I wouldn't drive it. I drive an automatic. Right? I love easy. I'm pretty lazy. I just want to go to the shops and come home. I don't want to get stuck in third on the freeway and have a burnout with some guy who's half my age. I'm not into that.
I want to be able to drink my coffee.
There it is. There's the echo. Can you put some headphones on you?
Yeah, I have to say I'm currently using my phone. So if it's really difficult, Keith, do you want me to join another session once I have all the equipment? I
No,
really
that's
don't want
right.
to.
That's
Yeah.
right. We're all having fun, but we are getting echo. So can you put some earbuds in maybe, or can you put on some headphones? Very good use case for the sound check, isn't it, Jessica?
Absolutely.
Ying has this amazing mic. I can't wait to try it. It's the HyperX. You know, we're all dying to try it, but there's a big echo going on there. And Penelope's calling in or listening in. Thank you, Penelope. We've been having some good chats about this. It's a very good use case for what I do. We can have up to 10 people on this call, and you can ask questions on YouTube or LinkedIn or Substack. We're live on Substack, and we've got quite a few listeners there. Hello, Lachelle, and hello, Stephen. Hello, Lisa. And so it's all part of the fun. I want to just continue with the idea of Riverside because it is a very, very good site, but not free. It's not. They don't have a free version, but I think convenience is worth paying for. Which is a conversation I have with my wife every night. Oh, come on, can't we just get someone to mow the lawn? I don't want to mow the lawn. Come on. It's only $50. Come on, Keith, you're so lazy already. Couldn't you just mow the lawn and do the dishes once a week? Come on. No, there's more important things to do. I want to watch Netflix. Go out.
I understand, Keith. I understand.
I'm a creative. Yeah. I bet Prince didn't do his own lawn.
I would much rather be sitting and being creative too.
Yeah.
Look, I know you've got this great idea for a painting, but look, the dishes need to be done. Well, the dishes can wait.
Tedious.
The painting can't wait. Creatives don't wait for boring things. So anyway, Riverside, I want to pick up on this because we never normally talk about this, but it is a very, very good site. It's the Ferrari in this range. It's the top of the tree, but it's not free. Actually, there's a song, Jessica. It's the top of the tree, but it's not free. I can sort of see myself.
You're going to have an album soon. I mean, every time I talk to you, you get inspired by something.
Yeah, it's the top of the tree, but it's not free. So let's run the room on what people are using for their tech, and then we'll use. This is actually a really good discussion. Substack is right at the beginning. I won't say the bottom, but the beginning. It's free, but it's basic. Riverside is right at the top, but it's not free. Let's play the game because I'm doing a whole lot of experiments about this. I use Restream. We can use Google Meet. Some people use Zoom. So what I'll do, Ying, is I'll get you to talk, and we all won't talk. And when you talk, we shouldn't have an echo. So what technology do you use?
I just use Google and Zoom. Is this what you are asking?
Yeah, Google Meet?
Yes.
Tell me what you think of it, because I'm thinking of using it myself.
Well, you really ask the wrong person. Yeah, I would rather to go negotiate for the next half an hour than sitting here explaining a technical device. How do I think? I think it works well. And first of all, do you guys still hear the echo?
Not when you're talking.
Okay, perfect. Because I did have my headphone on with my daughter's help, because normally I don't use headphone. And I normally just talk to my laptop. So for this show, I actually bought this microphone. According to Keith, apparently this is a top of the range item. So I'm glad my husband picked the right item for me.
Nice.
But in terms, oh, thank you. In terms of technology device, I feel like I'm going to fail this quiz, Keith.
Look, this is actually important to actually ask this question, because in a world where technology can be, first of all, expensive, second of all, confusing, most people quite understandably said, look, Keith, I don't want to buy a mic. I just don't want to. Please don't make me buy a mic. Okay, no worries. But if you don't invest in some technology, you're always going to sort of stay at the sort of Substack free option model. You're never ever going to drive the Ferrari, even if you do like driving manuals. Like, so you, if you wanted to go, this is why I say this, and we talked about this a lot yesterday. If you want to go on very big shows, if you want to go up the line and talk on other people's shows, you'll get to a point where you'll hit a ceiling and it says, look, no, we can't have that echo on the show. Either fix it or come back next week. I'm not that fussy, but would you agree, Jessica? Am I being too fussy, or do you think there'll come a time when you'll hit a natural ceiling where people won't put up with these tech glitches?
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think part of it too comes from maybe not understanding what it is that you are hearing, Keith, because I'll tell you, after I got the setup I have now, and started using headphones, I hear so much more. Like like I was saying, I didn't hear Carol Ann earlier today. Her and I were talking, and she had a fan on, and I didn't hear it at all. We actually were talking about it. I said, your sound sounds fine right now, but I wasn't wearing my headphones. And when I put my headphones on for this call, I could hear it. And so if you're going to be working with people who have the professional quality equipment and you don't, just know that their equipment is going to be picking up a lot more than you even realize.
That's a really good point. Thank you guys, Jessica and Keith. I'm just listening here, even thinking back as a recent, example. There was one Substack writer reached out to me, asking me write a letter, which I did. She really liked the letter. She said she's asking me to do an audio. So happy about this mic for Keith's show. I'm so glad I did it. So I taped on my phone regularly, like the way I talk. Then my husband asked me to just talk through the mic. The sound was so much better talking through the mic. So I get it, Keith. I appreciate you point that out. I guess I was half kind of my learning process. Definitely this is such a great community. I think everybody's trying to help one another, saying, hey, we're here for a purpose. Either you are here to build a community, which I'm here for, or eventually you want to grow into a business, which I'm here for the mid and long term. So I think this advice is very valuable. So I really appreciate. I even with a headphone, I can't hear what you are hearing, Keith. When you're beginning saying in your talking, I can hear so much noise. Can you put a headphone at the echo? I cannot hear. But once I put a headphone on, I can hear you guys much clearer, even though there was no echoing. But even just now, Jessica was talking, I feel it's a lot clearer. So I get it. The investment upfront for the equipment is very important. I guess in my household, happened to be my husband always helping me, but he's out at this moment. Lucky my 18-year-old was able to help me. I was like, when
They're your tech support.
Yeah.
when you say, Keith, when you said go find I actually do not have a headphone. I had to go borrow hers, so she had to rush down to help me. But anyway, so in the future, I guess if I will ever be invited back, maybe you will put me on the blacklist. I don't know.
No. I do this on purpose. And Penelope, I hope you can see what we're doing here. This is extremely important for writers because writers love to write. And they might not listen to podcasts or music, and they live in. I don't read. I'm not a reader. I don't read books. I listen to Spotify. I watch TV. I do shows. So my day is very different to a writer's day. And what we've noticed with podcasters have said to me, Keith, when you send people to me to come on my show, can you at least make sure they sound good? Because a lot of them don't. And a lot of them don't sound good. And I don't want to have to be offensive, but I have to tell them to go away. Because these people that have very strong podcasts with hundreds of thousands of views every day, who happen to be my friends, which I'm very proud of, they say, mate, look, I've got a standard. My show is at a standard. I don't mind talking to writers if that's what they want to talk about, but they have to sound good. Otherwise, my show goes down, and my listeners get pissed off. And Jessica, this is a very important, because that picks up on that audio book discussion we've had many times now. You know, you couldn't really put your finger on what was wrong, but you knew it sounded terrible, and you couldn't really work out why it was draining you. Yeah.
Right. Either it was, the quality was bad, so you felt like you're kind of straining to hear it all, or that, fingernails on a chalkboard type thing where you're like, I can't, and you can't get past it. And it's a personal thing. I mean, I don't know, maybe somebody else would enjoy their voice, but whatever we can do with our audio to get rid of those background noises, to get rid of the tinniness and those pieces, then it seems like we should try to do it.
Yeah. And that's exactly what my show's about. Hello, Royce. I'm sending you an invitation on LinkedIn. Royce is a voice confidence coach and a radio announcer. So he gets me.
Oh, that would be so cool to talk to him.
Yeah,
You've got such a great circle, Keith.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I live in Melbourne, Australia, but look, there's no Aussies here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talk with people all over the world. I'm going to bring in Jason. Jason lives in Alberta. What's your take on this? You have guests all the time, Jason, on your podcast. How do you promote them sounding better?
Yeah, hello everybody. Ironically, I'm on my phone, not my nice podcast mic. I'm cooking supper, so there will be some background noise. The scientists that I have on as guests before, about 3 or 4 days before, I send them like a list of things they can do to improve their sound.
Wow, checklist.
And yeah, and honestly, even having a headset mic improves it drastically over just speaking into your laptop. Like that's the worst. The absolute worst is just people who have nothing and they're just speaking into their laptop. So I do say that I would prefer not to happen. And then like a headset mic is super cheap, because I'm not really wanting these guests to spend hundreds of dollars for the interview. Some of them do have a mic. Most of them have like a little headset thing, and that's fine. But again, like my podcast isn't enormous. That's compared to our social media accounts, it's quite modest. So I have to be modest in my demands for the scientists.
Yeah, I know. I've got a mate of mine who gets 1 million downloads a month. He can say whatever he wants. It's his show. 1 million people are going to listen to it. He wants it to sound good, but that's the top of the tree. So we hang out in the middle to say you could be better. It's not. We're having fun. We're all friends here, but let's try and make each other sound better, because this is an incredible. And Penelope, this is something that you'll understand. Writers love to write, but when the book comes out, and you'll know this, Jessica, when you do your book tour. The book tour comes out, and you've got to go on all these podcasts to talk about the book. You love writing. You want to talk about writing, but I don't know if you could go and have people read articles about your book. I guess that happens, but there's all these shows you can go on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's all these
and
shows.
I have to say something really quick, so everybody knows I haven't written a book yet. Keith already has me on tour.
because I know how this works, and you do the work, and we all do the work, and over time the universe rewards us. You know, it's just very few people do lots and lots of work and get nothing out of it, nothing. Maybe you don't
Yeah,
get
that's
a
true.
number one.
That's
You don't get
true.
a number one song, but maybe like I'm 96. You know, Jessica, I'm 96 in the top 100. I'm not
I
number one.
know. I was just sharing that with Carol Ann in our conversation. And because she was thinking about coming on last night, but some things came up and it wasn't working. And I said, "Oh my goodness, I have to tell you something."
So I'm not in the top 10, but I made a dent,
Mhm.
and we all make a dent if we keep working at it. Now, Royce is coming in from LinkedIn. This is why I love this show, because it goes to 3 places at once. If you want to add your thumbnail, that'd be great too. Royce, he's in Phoenix. But I just want to hear you, and I want to hear your take on why voice and the choice of mic is so important. What's your preference? We got you there, Royce? He might be on mute. Okay. We'll come back to that. We'll keep that one playing. But what's your choice of mic, Jason? Because you have a podcast and a roadcaster.
How about now, Keith?
There we go. Bingo.
Okay. I'm not in my studio. I'm in someone else's. I'm like, where is this thing?
So you would, of all people that we know, would be fanatical about sound, and you couldn't possibly recommend someone just call in on their laptop for a professional quality interview, could you?
No, not at all. And it does make a difference, especially for longevity. People don't even realize why they don't like listening anymore. And a lot of it is ear fatigue, But at the same time, today's phones are incredible as far as mics.
Yeah. What's your preference if you had a choice, and you probably got a few? Can we talk about what your
I would love to have the $10,000 Neumann when I was on the air, but it's a little out of the budget. So I love gosh, mics are so it really depends on a lot of things, but for me, I really like a basic Shure MV7 or somewhere in that range. I think they're running like $60, something like that, and that'll work wonders.
Is that dynamic? Is that a dynamic mic? What I want to do, Royce, you might not have heard of this one. This is a find. Jessica has a Mayono product. Now, I know normally this is like heresy. Come on, Keith. You can't possibly recommend a Chinese product. I'm a professional. But have a listen to Jessica. She's doing a PhD. She's got a book in her. Like as I said, I can already see where Jessica is 10 years down the track. I'm probably loading this up a bit. But she's going to be on these podcasts. She's going to be talking. And she bought this $100 microphone that sounds like FM radio. Bloody brilliant. Have a listen to this, Royce. So Jessica, tell us.
Yes, I ended up, I really hadn't ever thought about sound quality before. And like I've told Keith and some other people have heard, I work from home. I'm back in school. I'm getting my PhD in global leadership and change from Pepperdine. And I have to do videos, and I have presentations that I give online sometimes. And I had never thought about the audio. It really was just, can you hear me? Not how do I sound? And having that switch, and really Keith has just got me starting to think about this. I only back since April. So it's just been a couple months, and I ended up finding this mic and just not really knowing much about it, but it was on a flash sale on Amazon. So I was like, I'm willing to pay like $100. I'll give it a shot. And I'm really happy with it. And then after my first time using it, Keith was like, well, do you have headphones yet? And I said, no. And I really didn't understand why that was important either. And now that I have them, everything, I mean, it's all different. It's all I see now. I understand now.
Oh, it sounds great.
It does sound great. And there's tech, and there's even software. Like we got a low cut filter and all sorts of mids and highs and a limiter and a compressor.
Oh, absolutely.
So, for
Yes,
50 bucks, 100 bucks.
Yes, I mean there
Yeah,
are
it was.
tons of
I have my little thing right here, and what I love is okay. So listen to this, because what I've heard is on a lot of mics, hitting the mute button makes noise, and that's an issue. So listen, I'll hit the mute button. Did you hear anything?
Nope.
And that was me actually hitting the mute button on the microphone itself.
wow. You must have dainty fingers, Jessica.
No, it's just a touch. It doesn't actually have a button.
Oh, okay, I got you.
It's touch. And that was one of the features that when I started looking at it after Keith sent me things to look at, I was like, oh, I got a good deal.
Yeah. We actually have quite a few different people on mics today. But Royce, because we don't have you on the show and you're doing some great work, could you tell us what you do? And does it fit in with, are you using Substack? Have you heard of it?
Oh, absolutely. I am on Substack. Yes. Everything in my world, my website and everything is Voice of Royce. So I'm Voice of Royce on Substack and voiceofroyce.com and Voice of Royce on Facebook. You get the idea.
Voice of Royce. And you were in radio and you've moved into coaching now. Tell us what you do and how you can help the community.
Yeah, I was actually, I still help podcasters because I've noticed a lot of people, especially when it comes to podcasting, we usually talk about tech, right? The actual, like we're talking about today. Or, let's say, thumbnails or something, some kind of YouTube strategy. I wanted to tell them how to interview guests because I've interviewed well over 250, mostly celebrities over the years. And I know how to get a guest to open up and how to get a guest to shut up. So, those were little things, but now I've kind of pivoted a little bit and I'm helping people build vocal confidence. So if you consider yourself shy or introverted, helping you gain the confidence to actually speak up and stop letting your ideas die in your chair.
Let's pick up on this. We talk about this a lot. What is the number one thing holding people back from doing their own show or going on shows or sharing their opinion? What happens there?
Right. It's the spotlight effect. It's when that red light pops on and you start freaking out. And that's totally human. We're not used to quote unquote performing, and we're not really afraid of our speaking skills. We're afraid of being judged. And that's the problem most people have. I do work with a lot of public speakers as well. And I remind them, like, you think they're worried about paragraph 7 or your wrong slide or the last word you mispronounced. They're thinking about their hair. They're thinking about whether or not their Instagram post went out. They're thinking about themselves, just like every other person on the planet. We're all thinking, what's in it for me? So if you change that, flip that script and come from a place of service, all of a sudden you're thinking about them and you'll calm right down. Anytime you're using I words or I'm so worried or what if I, those kinds of phrases, that's when you're going to feel the nerves.
Oh, wow. What a great hack. Instead of thinking about me, think about them.
Absolutely.
So it's so true. What I was thinking about is I was an 8th grade teacher about 25 years ago. And that was something you had to learn that, you know what, when those 13, 14-year-olds are laughing, I promise you, it's probably not you. They have so many other things going on in their lives, and you are the least important thing there.
This is important. This is very, very important. So let's give everyone else. You jump in. Yes, please.
Yeah, Keith, I really think you asked Roy a really good question. I think, hey, Roy, I'm Ying Molly from Canada. And coming from China, actually, you can tell I have a very strong accent. Even after I lived in North America for nearly 30 years, I still have very strong accent. When I work for corporation, which I worked for over 25 years, public speaking has been a development area I focus a lot on. Later on, I did get used to, because I had to, right? With progressing, climbing the corporate ladder, doing public speaking, it is a must. So I was okay to do it because business is all I know. So when I start to talk, because I'm very familiar with the materials, so I was fine. But now, Keith, you ask, I love writing, as you can tell, I love writing. I can write all day long. But what holds me back to do a live stream like this podcast is actually I do not have confidence in my own voice, talking about my own stories. I'm not sure if I can inspire people with my own experience, reflect my experience without business knowledge. So I hope I can articulate my point clearly here. So that's really what holds me back. Besides the technical part, Keith, today you really give me a lot to think. The technical piece is really important, but there is that soft confidence piece as well.
But let's pick up on this because you're talking directly into the mic. I can hear you. I can understand you. You're clear. You're articulating things, and this mic is your friend. It's a piece of tech that is aiding your journey. It's not an expense. It's something that says, okay, well, now I'm talking directly into the mic. When you do that, you speak with confidence. There's actually something to say. I'm very interested in your thoughts here, Blake. Royce, Blake. I have a mic on a stand. I do this on purpose because when I want to make a point, I grab the mic and I close my eyes. And I talk very deliberately into the mic, and things make sense to me. So I'm not distracted. I'm not trying to do two things at once. I'm just talking. And the power of having a mic, I'd be very interested in your thoughts here, Royce, and anyone else as well. When you have a mic, you've got this instrument that is your friend. I really should be working for Shaw. Or maybe I should be doing like a TED talk about microphones. But the point is that this piece of tech is your friend. It's there for you, right? And you've got a good one there, Ying, so you could use it. And when you spoke, I heard you. You spoke clearly. The voice was sharp and clear. Am I on the right track here, Royce? Do you think having a mic?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard, especially imagine being on the air. I could never see the listeners. So here's a hack that I did throughout my entire well over 30-year radio career. I would always put a picture of what I thought my ideal listener looked like right up by the mic.
Oh, that's really good advice.
I love that.
And I would just talk to that picture. And you can put your ideal customer up there, or you can put a loved one up there, or whoever you want, whoever you feel like talking to. Don't put crazy Aunt Gladys up there, but someone you can relate to and be a friend with.
Yeah.
Well, I think what's jumping out at me as I'm listening to all of you is, first of all, Keith, my first thought was, I wonder if he's ADHD, needing to like close your eyes and, get rid of all the distractions out there. But I think part of it is like figuring out what each of us needs in order to show up and to be able to talk. And as I was listening to you, I was noticing that do you remember those like pens that have like different colored ink and you press them down and it was like the thing to have when I was a kid? Well, I got a random sample.
Must be close to the same age.
Yeah, probably. I got a random sample in the mail and I love it, but I'm sitting here playing with it and I didn't even realize it. And I was like, ooh, I shouldn't click it so loudly in case my microphone picks it up. But I think for each of us, like knowing what it is that helps us be able to participate. So whether that is closing our eyes or having a visual in front of us, or being in a space that feels really grounding. Like each of us is going to have something that helps us feel comfortable. And Ying, I just want to say, like you said something about, I don't know if my story can be inspiring. And I like story is my thing. I love story. And I believe that
Yeah.
every single person has a story. And so I, much like Royce was saying, just focus on showing up with your story and not worrying about what other people might be thinking, because I think when you show up authentically with your story, people do get inspired.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And there you are, Heidi.
That's the one. That's the one. Yes.
They are fantastic, and you can't help but play with them if you're holding one.
I know.
So that's
Hey,
why I
Keith,
love
I
this
was going to
format.
throw something else in real quick.
Please.
Especially for podcasters. You got to remember that 99% of podcast listening is done alone. It's a solitary experience. So talk to one person, just like I did on the air. Same thing. People driving to work in their car. It's usually just one person. So they're always doing something else. So forget terms like everybody and hi folks and things like that. Talk to one person, because that's who's listening.
That is
The
a
focus.
really
The
good
focus.
point.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
It's extremely good. Look, we got quite a few good comments here. Thanks. People do say that they want me to do a video podcast. Never. This is my thing. This is who I am. This is who I am.
True.
Every other what I'd love you to do, everyone on the call and listening, everyone, I want you to look around the internet and find someone else doing an audio podcast like this. I've never seen it done before. Right. And that excites me because no one's doing it. I want to be the first. I want to be, this is what I do. I want to be famous for this. Everyone does video. Anyone can do video. I mean, you just put your phone on and there you are. I don't want to do that because everyone else is doing it. But that's not the point of the show. There is software you can use. Crisp with a K is a very good way to clean up sound. I'm guessing that's how you do that, Heidi. Yeah, or does Riverside do it automatically?
Riverside, yeah, it's one little press of the button saying apply studio quality sound, and it's like less than a minute and it's done. And the sound improves dramatically. Yeah.
I love it. The tech is there to be used for our benefit. That's what it's for. If you've got any questions at all, please put those in the comments. And here's a little image of a question mark. I just love doing this format. I just love doing it. So I'm going to give everyone a turn to talk about what the subject is today. We're talking about Substack Studio. Substack Studio is a free site, a free format on Substack that allows you to record audio on and also video on, audio only or video on. But you can only have 3 people, right? And it's very limiting, but it's very good for the price because it's free. Right. Does anyone want to go first and talk about what they've done with Substack and what could possibly come after it? Have you tried it, Royce? Have you tried some of these features?
No, and that's why I wanted to jump on this call, because I really haven't. I was like, yeah, gosh, I know it does so many things. I spend a ton of time on LinkedIn, and I'm building a course right now, and that's like 10 hours a day, it seems like lately. So I haven't jumped on Substack as much as I'd like, but I'm definitely on there.
Yeah, I found you. And I'll send that to everyone. It appears that I might not be the only one doing this. Razadok said that, excuse me. I'm guessing that means he does it as well. I'd love to hear some more explanations about that. There's definitely some people on the call listening in, and we've got, what we're doing here is we're live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Substack at the same time. Now, I reckon that's pretty cool. And maybe you're right, Heidi. I must have ADHD, because how else am I going to cope? I've only got 2 hands. But
Keith, you're in good company. I'm one of those late in life, over 50 woman who got diagnosed. So yes, you may, and it's not a problem. It's a superpower.
No,
I actually
exactly.
do believe that ADHD is a superpower, and I
I
do
do
say
too.
that because
You just have to know how to handle it.
yeah, you
Because
got
it can be hard.
it
Well,
is a power.
I live with my partner, and all four of our young adult kids are all ADHD, so autistic and ADHD. And
Yeah,
so I am surrounded by brilliance. So I love
you
it.
absolutely are.
And the world is changing. Like I wrote an article, if that's the right word. I created an article using Copilot. But I did check it. And the basic idea is that what's happening now in the world of content is we're moving away from one platform. We talked about this, Jessica, with what we now call multimodalism. Like I do a show that's live. I then turn it into a blog post. I then have images. I then maybe put it on YouTube for the replay. And then suddenly one piece of content becomes 3 or 4 different pieces for the people that enjoy that differently.
Yeah,
It's fascinating, isn't it?
it's fantastic.
Well, to your question of what are we doing on Substack, as you're saying that, I'm like, oh, I think I'm doing more than I realized I was doing. So I write a weekly piece that I put out. I also do live conversations. Sometimes I have multiple of them in a week, sometimes just one. And like I mentioned earlier, I will do the live, and it automatically drops it into a rough post for me. I do not publish it as is. That's when I download it, take it over to Riverside, polish it up a little, bring it back over. However, my lovely techie husband has set it up so that when I do a live on Substack, it auto publishes to, I believe, to LinkedIn and to YouTube. And so it is going out to multiple places, as well as I believe the clips get auto-published. I think we've got that set up as well. And it's been a ton of fun. I'm a therapist in the daytime in my day job, and I do an awful lot of listening. And what I've discovered over the last half a year or so is that there are a lot of pent up words in me waiting to come out, and they are showing up in my live conversations, which I'm loving. It's been just a lot of fun.
Oh, I love it. It's very, very important. And so we live in a world where people prefer content in different formats. I don't like to read. I don't watch videos. I don't. And so that cuts off about 75% of what people think I should be doing. I don't read books. So what does that mean? I actually get my information from different sources. And now that we know that that's the case, we can start to honor that. I'd love to have this conversation with everyone in the room. Royce, how do you create content, and where are you putting it currently? I'd love to hear your flow, your system.
You know, I've been a copywriter for over 20 years. I actually started because I realized, it's when you do a morning show. By the way, the hardest part isn't getting up at 3:30 in the morning. It's being funny at 5. That's the hardest part. So I realized, my day technically was over at 11 a.m. And I thought, I better start doing something. And that's how I got into copywriting. And I realize now I have no idea how much I've written, probably libraries worth at this point, but I didn't realize how much reading was involved when you became a copywriter, I was like, man, a lot of interesting things. I've written for 17 different industries, so a lot of reading. But I would say number one in this day of AI, I think where the pendulum is swinging back to real. So real personal lessons, things you've learned, things you can bring home in a way that is so human that there's no way AI could have made that up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, this is very in the world of AI. What does separate us as real processes? And I know Pamela, who's listening, will totally get this. Because we have experiences as humans that we can infuse into our articles, into our blogs, and that makes them much more dynamic, much more enjoyable, much more tolerable. Because you look at what happens with AI and you think, well, that's got to be bullshit. I mean, that's just got to be bullshit. and you just lose taste for it. You just get sick of it. You just sort of tune out of it. Do you want to pick up on this, Jason? Jason is actually a Year 9 science teacher. So he has a lot of synergy here with many people in the group. What's your take on
teachers?
Yeah. So he's in Alberta, just up the road, really. He's in Alberta, Red Deer, Alberta. And he's a very, very cool science teacher who happens to have an online brand with Funky Dogs. So, mate, you've got a very interesting story to tell about this. How do you infuse real in the world of getting things done? And how do you avoid the trap of using AI too much?
Ooh, that's a deep question. I'm definitely come full swing on the anti-AI bandwagon. I was definitely more pro AI about a year ago. Yeah, like our accounts on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, I rarely use any kind of generative AI. Rarely, to never. And that's because there's been a big backlash against using it. So like if somebody, when it was popular to make AI photos or using AI to make little videos, initially it was fun and it was cute. And then as I learned more from the artists that follow us, they were, I was uneducated with how much it scrapes and how much it steals and how much it, it's ruining artistic capacity of our species.
Yeah.
So that's where I am with AI. Where I do use AI is on I guess not the generative front. It's more time saving, proofreading. On our podcast, I use what is it called? I don't have my computer in front of me. Something. It's like an editing program, and it gets rid of ums and ahs.
Is it Descript?
Descript. Thanks. Yeah. That is super handy. And then I do use some form of AI to help proofread when I'm writing. And we do, like, I write once a week here on Substack, the Pupdate newsletter. And I try to write more than that. I like to debunk science stuff that's happening in the pet world, because that's kind of on brand. Something weird that people think is true, or some viral clip that's AI or whatever. But yeah, I guess that hopefully I've answered your question, Keith. It was a really good one.
Yeah, it's a very big one, because we have almost daily now debates about this. Jessica, I want to give you the floor now, because this feeds directly into you. You are a teacher. So
I was a teacher.
You were a teacher, so you understand young minds. You are an artist, and this must really kill you to see these 2-second videos done that have no skill at all.
Oh, so I'm a visual artist. I will never claim to have any musical capacity. I have learned how to play instruments, but it's only technically. But yeah, I have a degree. Actually, my bachelor's degree is in studio art and art history. And I worked in the art field for a while, and I just had an alarm go off. Sorry about that. And so with AI, I do struggle with it. I in the artistic piece of it, because it takes time. There's reasoning behind when you're creating art. It's not just to create something pretty. I mean, that's fine. You can do that too. But when you're an artist, there's more to it. You're usually trying to evoke an emotion, just like writers. That's what we're doing in our writing too, is we're trying to help people, feel what we're feeling, or see that they can relate to us. So yeah, the artistic side of it, I really struggle with. I really do, because I also know that AI is not going away. So just because I don't like it doesn't mean I don't need to learn how to integrate certain pieces. And that's where I'll use it with writing. And so that's that's where I really do put the limit. I don't do it on any of my artistic stuff. I don't use it with my photography. But I do use Photoshop and I play with it, but I don't just use AI to say, make this look better. I actually am going in and fine tuning the colors and the composition. And I think that might be the difference for me.
Yeah, I actually think this is a very important point. When you say AI is not going away, it evokes a feeling of, well, I can't do nothing.
Right.
I mean, I can't put my head in the sand and expect to live in the world for the next 20 years if I don't embrace some of it.
Well, and the other side is with my school and being back at the university doing my PhD. And I'm kind of in this period, my cohort, where are the boundaries? Because in academia, it is your own ideas, but like I use it as a research assistant a lot because here's my topic of area, find me some peer-reviewed articles. And then once you find those peer-reviewed articles, you look in the peer-reviewed articles bibliography, and now you go down a whole long list and you've got all these resources, but it points you in the right direction. And so it's a phenomenal tool, but I do think it can be overused.
I think that I had a very good discussion about this yesterday. My challenge with AI is, in addition to the moral dilemma, is can we avoid not doing it? Like, what would our life be like if we all said, it's 2026, we're all going to hide over there, we're not going to use any AI at all, we're going to lobby the government to not use it anymore. And I'm seriously on this side, but I'm thinking, well, what is that going to look like? In 10 years' time, you come out of your cave and you go, geez, the world I know I don't even recognize it. I can't use any of the devices. Can't even answer the door. I can't answer the phone. Can't use my computer. The phones have all changed. I'm terribly sort of worried that if we don't do at least something to keep up, not embrace it, but keep up.
And understand it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, a very good example. Yesterday was census night in Australia. No one in this call was in Australia, but we had a census, 28 million people, and it was 100% online. Right? Big, furious debate going on at the moment. What about someone who's 88? Well, just use your tablet. I don't have a tablet. I'm 88. Well, use your phone. I don't have a smartphone. I'm 88. About 25% of Australians are over 65. Right? So what happens to them? And we will get there. We'll be that generation soon, because Gen X and Generation Alpha and probably Generation Beta, they'll look at us and laugh, as Gen Zs have looked at the boomers, and the boomers have looked at the traditionalists. So I'm very conscious of the fact that I love technology, and I'm sort of sitting in the middle of a moral debate, but I'm very worried that if we avoid it, it'll come and bite us. Let's have this discussion. What do you think, Ying? Do you think that technology will bite us if we don't use it? Or you've got young kids and they'd be using it. What's your take on AI?
Oh, I have a lot to say. I think when we, I don't think this topic is that easy, like right or wrong. This is what makes it so interesting. The way I would step back to see what makes us as a human being unique, right, on the planet. I think it's an artistic capability. I believe it's Jessica said that. Creativity, imagination, and judgment, accountability. Those are the things that we stand for. And I believe, Jessica, you talk about the artistic part. My daughter, older one, she's going to be a professional dancer. I will be the first one to say is, a machine cannot dance like a human, a professional dancer. I will be the first
Absolutely.
one to say. And the hard work behind it, the movement, the creativity, all that, let's hope that we're not going to see so many machines dancing on the stage one day. And in my household case, when you said I have 2 teenage daughters, 16 and 18, they are actually the ones against use AI. Me as a mom, I would say, wow, because it come from, hey, mom, do you know how much electricity generic AI? They actually explained to me generic AI versus, the old version AI, the difference, the amount of electricity that generic AI is using, and they are taking human jobs, non-moral, kudos to them. But at the same time, as a mom, kids, as like I said, 10 years, in 10 years or even sooner, they will be in the workforce, right? Go to, start to work. If they do not adapt to any AI, is it going to make them backwards, right? So that's what make it so interesting, because I'm in this dilemma. So you ask me, I would say from a creativity, we cannot get AI to take away our creativity, take away our experience, take away our judgment, take away our ultimate accountability. So when I write, the story is mine. The reflection is mine. AI is not a middle-aged Chinese lady, first generation immigrant in Canada.
Very true.
Did not work for corporation, Fortune 500 top retailer for 25 years. Did not go through all this navigation I did. Did not raise 2 teenage daughters. Did not go through whatever the life threw at me. That's what I write about. But as English being not my first language, I need to make sure I can articulate my thoughts in a clear language. I do use AI as my editing partner, but not even not writing the whole thing for me. It's editing. I believe someone said it is, at the end of the day, you still have to put out maybe even the way we got educated, being English not our first language, we always been educated more polished English to begin with. So that's why we turned to put out more polished work to begin with, then later on the AI editing part. So hopefully, Keith, I answer your question. For me,
because you're a parent as well. You've got 2 young. This is a very interesting point. I was a bit surprised to hear this, and I'd love to hear what people think of this. 2 sites, Substack and LinkedIn, and probably many others, are now creating buttons that says, "Is this AI? Do you think this is AI slop? Click here and get a score." And the 3 scores are 1, 100% AI, 2, 100% human, 3, AI assisted. And then you can make your judgment about what you think of that. The thing that's very interesting is that Gen Z is driving that movement. Now, I didn't know that. I stood on off, I believe it. But what do you think, Jessica? Do you think that's true,
I
that Gen
agree.
Z is driving that movement?
I have 2 kids in that generation. We refer to it as Gen Z, but that's again that global. We're across the globe from each other, Keith. So yeah, Gen Z. I know my youngest, who is he'll be 20 in September. Oh my goodness, I need to start thinking about his birthday. He hates it. He absolutely hates it. And like he hates the fact that people go to Copilot and Gemini now instead of just looking it up themselves, which makes me laugh because that's how Gen Xers used to be like, oh my God, just look it up. Like you don't have to Google everything. And now we're Googling everything. So that's where it's like it's going to change. It's going to change. And how it's going to go, I'm not sure yet. But Gen Z is 100% like, then they see the environmental impact too. And that's something that there was somebody in the chat who wrote something. And when people start having those data centers going up in their hometowns, that might end up making a bigger conversation.
Hey, Keith, can I jump in real quick?
Please.
Yeah, I don't normally, but yeah, just a couple things that may be interesting to be listening today. There's 2 scientific studies I broke down on my podcast about generative AI in general. One is that every generation from in Canada, we call the boomer parents the greatest generation. That's what that generation is called. I think you refer to them as the traditionalists, Keith. Is that correct?
The traditionalists are pre-boomers.
Yeah, pre-boomers. So
the parents of the boomers.
Yeah. So every generation from the traditionalists / the greatest generation marching towards Gen Z and Gen Alpha has gotten smarter, better at math, better at reading, better at science, better at critical thinking. But that has stopped at Gen Z. Gen Z and Gen Alpha, that trend has stopped and it's being reversed. And there's 2 factors driving that. One is social media addictions, and 2 is generative AI. Because it's a plague in schools right now. Like, as I do teach in the school system, and it is destructive to kids' abilities to do anything if they have access to it. It's just so easy to press a button and blurb out an essay, and then you didn't even have to think about it. So there's just one study to think about. The other one that is terrifying is this one that's getting
in a critical moment. We lost him. He's gone into a tunnel.
Oh, I'm back again. Sorry
Back
about that.
again. Yeah.
Okay, I'll start that again. I was just accidentally going to a different page. Just real quick, not to monopolize the conversation, but
this is very interesting. Keep going.
Yeah. So the other study that is terrifying is researchers looked at short stories written by ChatGPT, and researchers looked at short stories written by real people. And in every instance of AI short story versus real person short story where people knew it was AI and it was real people, and then they mislabeled the AI short story as written by a real person, people preferred the AI short story overwhelmingly over one written by an actual person. And it wasn't even close. And then people said, because it's stealing the best works to make the story.
Well, and that's it. That's it. Is that that's the piece that worries me, is that AI is learning. That's the whole purpose of it. So at some point in time, it's going to become where it's going to be harder to detect it, because it's going to be getting better by teaching itself.
Yeah, that's the second part of the study. Is people who professed the more knowledge you professed in being able to determine if something was AI slop, they did worse on detecting what was AI and what wasn't. So there was like that. Yeah. So it's anyways, just on the whole AI conversation, some food for thought for everybody.
I really appreciate what you've said there, because I just assumed that part of the story was COVID, that being locked inside in those critical years at high school affected our brains. Not my brain, but kids' brains. Did COVID affect this somewhat, or is that a bit of a sort of distraction from this main topic?
You'd have some effect at the younger grades, but not
that's what I was going to say. It was the younger grades, not like my 2 were junior high school during COVID, and they already had their solid friend group that they were also in the online classes with, that they were gaming online with at night. And that's where I started to learn that the digital community wasn't all bad, because they maintained those relationships. And then when they went back to school, it wasn't a difficult transition. Not all kids had that experience at all. And the younger kids who hadn't even learned how to be students yet were all of a sudden, when schools opened back up, were plopped in like 2nd or 3rd grade and expected to be at a 2nd or 3rd grade level. And that's just not realistic.
Overwhelmingly, that's not what's causing this problem.
Yeah.
Wow. This is amazing. This is really amazing. There's a couple of comments from a couple of mates of mine that are on the road. Why should we trust the intelligence of AI? It could change at any time. And what's the difference between AI and spell check? And probably even a calculator. But I think that's a great question. When people are pretty pro AI, they say, well, you're using spell check, you're using all these other tools. What's the difference? But probably the vast sort of infrastructure that's being used to use these is there's so many moral debates, isn't there, Jessica? As an artist, you would have so
Yeah,
many.
there are moral debates, but I do use it. And so, I'm not an anti-AI person. I just see like where are the boundaries? Where do the guardrails
Yes.
need to be?
Yeah,
Because
I'm
like
with
for
Jessica.
me, writing my papers for school where I have to write a bibliography, there are some great programs to use where you can store all of your references and it enters in your citations as you go. I did not have that when I was getting my bachelor's and my master's, and it is genius. And I absolutely use that. But yeah, Ying, you were gonna speak up too about there needs to be guardrails.
I totally agree. I think go back to there are so many things going through my mind right now. One is the boundaries, definitely. Another thing I want to go back is you said earlier, can we lobbying that none of us use it? The reality is if you follow the market, which I'm talking about Wall Street, right, the street, and so much capex invested in AI development, the reality is that's evolution. I don't know if we can stop right now. And the major corporation, when they are answering for the shareholders, they have to improve productivity. And we all agree AI is helping with the productivity. So I don't know if we can stop the trend. But what I do think, though, is I'm using it too, the same as Jessica, right? I'm also saying, where do I use it? I'm not going to let AI write my story. I'm writing my own story. It's my experience, my reflection. That's my boundary. My idea, my questions. Yes, AI can help me polish a bit. That's really the boundary I'm using. No difference than back when I in corporation. I used to have a very smart team members working with me, and I teach them business knowledge. I know I sign off certain direction we want to go, and we need to do a PowerPoint. I'm not good at doing PowerPoint. What I normally do is I assign a team member who's really good at developing PowerPoint. I even drew on paper, rough drawing, what I want. The person just did the best PowerPoint better than me. So that's how I see a AI role. AI is not making judgment. AI should not accountable for my piece. AI does not live my experience. And hopefully, Jessica, when you said AI can learn, hopefully one day they are not cluing me because that's what makes me unique.
Right.
But I am using AI to a certain level. So that's why it's not black and white. I don't know. It can ever be black and white. I do not know if we can ever live without it, though.
Yeah, you can't go back. You can't. I mean, you couldn't go back to the 1890s and say, we were all right without electricity. Sure, I had to. Sure, I had to wash my own clothes on the line with a cheese board. But
Yeah.
but you know what? I love like Little House on the Prairie on Netflix is probably the most popular show in the whole world at the moment because it talks about wouldn't it be great to go back to the 1890s and just live in a small town where you had no electricity and you made your own bread. Very attractive, but maybe not realistic in the 2020s. And
Yeah.
some people don't want to make their own bread and wash their own clothes. So the convenience factor is overwhelming for those who are not looking at the moral debates. But I want to give everyone a turn here. Can't you see what's going on here with this group discussion? This is why I love this format. Everyone gets a turn. Everyone gets a chance to be heard. There's no judgment. Isn't it just glorious? Carol Ann, are you still there? I haven't heard from you for a while. Do you want to jump in and talk about what's going on with AI and how you use all this stuff?
Sure. The thunderstorm has stopped. It was so much noise. It was competing. So, can you hear me?
Yep.
Well,
Can. Yep.
okay. All right. Well, I know I wrote an article, when you asked that question, can you tell if this is AI? And I thought about that. At first, it was like, I really don't care as long as it's not something I'm personally working with. If someone else is doing it, if someone else is using that's fine. That's for them. For me, depending on what I'm doing, usually I write all of my articles in person, and then I use AI as a tool to just go over it and pick out what and even then I'm like, nope, that's not what I want. You're taking this over. A lot of times chat is annoying to me. It has these patterns that these three patterns. No, you are not this and you are not that. You are. I hate those patterns, and so many times I just rather write what's in my heart according to my experiences and just use it by telling it just edit for punctuation or fragmented sentences. So basically, that's what my preference is. When I wrote my first book, AI was not anywhere on the scene, and I'm grateful because I would have to use it as I did with this book, but I still wrote every bit of it. It took over 2 years for me to write the book on fundraising. But then I used the AI to just go over it and look at simple sentence structure. So I was comfortable with putting it out and saying, oh, yeah, this is mine. But we are not, I think it is advancing and we can never go back to that. I do like some AI features. Um, I think that's about it. I'm learning as I go. One thing for sure, it helps me to. I was telling Jessica today that I use AI to help me to get my finances in order for the business
Mm.
because I have fell behind. And so using my taxes and my receipts and invoices, I had them do my financials. So I felt great with that because that took a relief off of
Yeah.
me. The power, the pressure of not being where you need to be when you're supposed to be there, it has taken that pressure off of me, or just giving me insight of which direction am I going to go. So using it as a think tank because I
Yeah.
am a party of one. And so sometimes there is no one for me to bounce ideas off of.
Yeah. I want to share. I want to share a really cool story about AI in the real world. And we may have a break in a minute if you need to. But this guy I know, he's not a good friend, but he made this YouTube video. He said, "Look, I came home and I had this idea for a song, and I recorded it. And my wifey came home and she'd been working late, and I said, "Can you just give me some thoughts on this song? I've written this song and I want it to sound good, and I'm really interested in your thoughts. And there's no one here else to ask." And in the process between starting the question and finishing the question, his wife fell asleep in front of him. And he goes, "I asked a very genuine question. I wanted wifey to give me her view of the song, but she's so tired. She fell asleep in front of me while I was talking." So he said to AI, "Look, my name is Bill. Please refer to me as Bill. This is the song that I wrote today. I know it's not quite right, and I want it to make it better. And I don't really have anyone to ask in my town, and I don't really know anyone here. So can you just give me some suggestions?" So AI said, "Yeah, no worries, Bill. What I want you to do is I want you to put the chorus at the front, and I want you to put a double chorus at the back, and I want you to take out the lead break, and you really need to work on the middle eight. Maybe go into relative minor or try something else. But, the middle eight's a bit weak, but the chorus is quite good, but put it at the front." and then do a double chorus at the end so people can really sing along and fade out. Because, well, let's do that. He says, yeah, no worries. And so within about 15 minutes, he's got this song going, same song, but there's a double chorus at the front, and then there's all this funky bit. They took out the solo and he reworked the bridge, the middle eight, interchangeable words. And then his wife wakes up. And guess what, honey? In the time that you were sleeping, I wrote a song. Look at this. Listen to this. Oh, man, that's good. All I did was sleep on the couch. I didn't help at all. And so I thought that was a really interesting use case for real world AI. He had a need, and there was no one in his town that could help him, right? He genuinely wanted to talk to a person, but there wasn't one there. So I just love that. Does anyone have any similar examples of how that works? JB, you got to go. Jason, you got to go and do your thing, or you got some thoughts before you go?
Oh no, I'm good for a little bit.
Does that resonate, Jason? Have you had examples in your life where you really did want to talk to a real person, but they're not there? You live in the country on a farm. Has there been some times AI has come to the party when a human could have done it but wasn't around?
Oh man, I have a really funny story real quick. So we just got back from vacation, and on the vacation, I needed to use a credit card in my name because we rented a car. And I only have one credit card in my name. I never use it. I use my wife's credit card. And I forgot my PIN, and my credit card got locked. So we figured it out. But we had some time at night. I called the credit card company, and I couldn't get through. So I went online to their chat, and then it was like it said it was putting me through to an agent to chat to, and I was like, I'm pretty sure this is going to be AI. So it helped me through like 99% of it, and then I said to the agent, I said, dude, are you a real person? And the AI chat bot, it wasn't an AI chat bot, the person said, no, I'm a real dude, brother. And I was like, I don't know if AI would say it that way. I'm a real dude, brother.
That's hilarious.
And that's what it typed back. And then I typed back, I'm like, prove it. Say one more thing that would prove that you're not AI. And then there was like an extremely long pause. And then it typed, I don't know how to do that. I don't know what to say.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So again, like AI is people pleasing, and it will always come up with an answer. It will never say it doesn't know. So that's a good clue that it's a real person.
It is people pleasing. And it also, I don't know if anybody has done it where you've kind of gone down a rabbit hole of research or a discussion with AI. It also will hallucinate and start giving you really, really nonsensical things. And you really can't rely on it. It really has to be human in, human out if you ever use it. You know what I mean?
Sometimes the kids, I teach high level chemistry, some kid will have it on their phone. I'm like, what are you doing? First off, I'm going to take your phone away. Second of all, the kid is asking if the school has a mass spectrometer. I'm like, no, we don't have a $7.5 million highly sophisticated machine for whatever nonsense you're hoping to do in this lab. No, go put your phone in the office. You don't get it for the rest of the day.
I wonder if, part of, as I've been listening to the conversation, I think of, AI and my AI use, I think of it as a tool, not the answer. And I think where we run into problems is when we use it as the answer. And I think that's true in so much of life. And so even like, Jason, some of the stuff you were sharing about learning, I was like, that's really fascinating. Because so this might sound off topic, but in my mind it isn't. In school, I was always like your ideal student. Like I did my homework, everything was in on time. I got great marks. I got all sorts of awards and blah 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 blah. I went off to university. It was more of the same. I went to a small private college at the same time as I was at university, and it was the first time in my life that I had been forced to think really deeply. And it's not that we hadn't done critical thinking in high school, we had, but it had been, when I look back, it feels very surface level to what we did at this college. And I remember feeling ripped off. Like I did everything that I was supposed to do for 12 years. I was the model student, and still nobody ever really taught me the skills that I needed to do this deep thinking.
Oh,
And
wow.
so when my kids were born, I did not want them to have that same experience. And so my husband and I did a lot of talking about what's education going to look like, what are we going to do with our kids. We decided to homeschool them at the beginning just because they were very sensitive, and the school felt very harsh. Like things things that I heard from principals coming in were, oh, we don't tolerate bullying, but words always happen and words are just words. And I'm like, no. And so we kept them home and eventually found our way to unschooling. And I don't know if you're familiar with unschooling, but it is essentially learning by living life. And my main goal for our kids was I never wanted them to lose the love of learning, because I could see how much they loved learning things as they were growing and developing. And the really cool thing, I never intended that we would do this the whole way through our schooling, but all four of our kids unschooled the whole way through. And they have since gone on to do some university classes, different things, and they always excel, because one of the things that came about by just living life and learning and developing a deep love of learning was this critical thinking. And I agree that I don't think we can get rid of AI. I mean, if I said, okay, no AI, we would have no power because our power meter is monitored by AI. We would have nothing that we have that is our normal way of living. But at the same time, we need to have critical awareness about it. So when I use AI, I do use AI. Ying, like you, I'm actually first generation Canadian and English is my second language, but I came here when I was 4, so you don't hear it. However, if you talk to me long enough, you'll hear it in my construction every once in a while. And so one of my big fears about publishing something is that sometimes there's a double entendre that I miss. And so I've used AI to say, okay, check my grammar and my meaning and make sure that it is making sense.
Yeah.
If there's anywhere where
Yeah.
I have missed something and someone's not going to follow, don't change my writing, but in italics, tell me what I'm missing so that I can pay attention to it. I've used it for, I suck at titles. I struggle with titles so much. So I'll be like, give me a list of 10 titles, and then I'll pick something that works for me. I will say things like put in headings to break it up a little. Photo placement. Tell me what kind of photo to use and where to put it. And I mean, I love taking photos, so I don't even know how many thousands of photos. So I will have a photo for pretty much everything. I just don't know which one to put in and where. And so those to me are like examples of using it as a tool. My kids, like some of the others of you have shared, are very anti-AI. They do not want it at all. I suspect that with time, either they're going to be instrumental in changing things and putting some really necessary restrictions in place, or they will come to a place where they will, much like they've done in other areas of their life, find a way to balance the helpful and the problematic, which to me is kind of part of what we're doing with this conversation as well.
I love what we're talking about here. We're coming up to about 2.5 hours, and a few people have said, look, it's getting late. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play a song which I wrote with Suno. I'm just going to say it. I wrote with Suno, but the concept of the song is called Practical AI. Like, AI needs to be practical, and it does have a lot of purposes. When we come back from the break, feel free to use this as a reason to leave. If you need to go, I won't be offended. It is getting late. But if you want to stick with us, we're going to go to part 2 on the KKFM radio show. And we're going to talk about homeschooling with Carol Ann. And also, Heidi, I'd like to see if I could clean up your sound. I think it might be an internet issue. You were clicking. I don't know if you heard that, but there was this clipping in your voice every word. And I think that's possibly due to your internet speed. We do have quite a lot of issues with Canadians on this show, in especially rural Canada. And eventually it actually sounds like Dalek radio. But we do it there. Did everyone else hear that? Am I exaggerating to make a point?
Keith, I kept checking my headphones. I was like, is my are they not connected right? Am I getting that static? You know how sometimes you can get static in headphones when they're not plugged in all the way?
Yeah.
That's what I kept thinking it was. So I'm glad you said something.
So if you want to, Heidi, check your speed. You need about 5, maybe 10 megabytes a second. You can check that here with speedtest.net, and that'll give you, it might either reboot or go plug. Did you hear it yourself? Did you sense there was an internet?
I did not, but what I'm going to do on the break is I'm going to switch over to my computer, and then that should probably resolve it, because then I'm hardwired in. So
hardwired. So
yep.
I love this use of AI. I use a site called Suno, which costs me $10 a month. I can play an instrument, but I choose not to. And I write these little cutesy songs that only we can understand, because they're not going to be on the radio. So this one's called Practical AI, the idea that we need to use AI. We can't avoid it, but let's make it practical and get rid of all of the acronyms and make it simple for the everyday person. And I'm very inspired by this.
This is Practical AI, simple and real, turning just an idea into something you feel. From stuck in your head to something you share, one small step and it's suddenly there. No code, no pressure, just dive right in. This is Practical AI, so let's begin. You don't need a lab coat, don't need a degree, just a curious mind and a cup of coffee. Open up a blank page, type a simple line, help me write a story, now your co-designing time. It's not sci-fi, it's not far away, it's in your hands every single day. This is Practical AI, simple and real, turning just an idea into something you feel. From stuck in your head to something you share, one small step and it's suddenly there. No code, no pressure, just dive right in. This is Practical AI, so let's begin. Need a better headline, need to clean your notes, summarize a meeting or draft that post. It won't be perfect, but it'll get you close, like a quiet collaborator who never says no. You steer the wheel, it helps you drive. It's not alive, but it amplifies. This is Practical AI, simple and real, turning just an idea into something you feel. From stuck in your head to something you share, one small step and it's suddenly there. No code, no pressure, just dive right in. This is Practical AI, so let's begin. Ask better questions, get better replies. That's the secret no one really hides. Edit, refine, don't copy, paste blind. You're still the author, it's just your co-pilot mind. Start with one thing, keep it real simple. Write, test, tweak, that's the whole principle. This is Practical AI. should just dive right in. This is practical AI. So let's begin. So let's begin.
Okay, practical AI. Let's begin. Now, I think that's quite a reasonable use case for AI. I write these little jingles, and you wrote an article about this, Carol Ann. This is a very good place to start. I don't profess to be famous. I don't want this song to be on the radio. You can't buy it. I'm not making any money. I'm just having fun. And I think that's really, really, really important, isn't it? What do you think?
It is. Absolutely. I plan to use Sunu myself because I think it adds some fun to whatever you're doing. Everything doesn't have to be so serious. And so I think songs that can actually define what you're doing and make it easier for people to understand, it's worth it.
This is oh wow, okay. So Heidi, you're back. I think you probably get a good signal now that you're hardwired.
Yes, I am here. Can you hear me better now?
We can. Are you
Sounds
using your
alive.
mic though? Are you plugged into a laptop?
I am on a laptop, but the laptop is connected into my Wi-Fi directly.
So
All right. Is sound okay? Because I can also switch to a different headset.
yeah, switch to a different headset. You sound very far away.
Weird. All right. Give me a second, and I will do that. I'll just mute myself while I do that.
Yeah. Oh, this is good. What we're talking about
Keith.
here. Yeah. You jump
Sorry,
in.
how long are we on break or?
We're still recording. I just played a little song to break it up a bit.
Okay.
What's your take on using AI for fun? Ling, that song really was indicative of what we're going to talk about, practical AI. You know, a lot of my friends use big, long words and acronyms, and I really don't know what they're talking about. So I want AI to be practical, yeah?
Yeah, I think practical. I think again, it's right now. I think AI is everywhere. Even listening to on this call, I think we each somewhat use AI to certain level, right? So this is just has approved. AI has penetrating our lives, right? As long as within the boundaries, all go back to the boundaries we define. Once we define the boundaries within it, however we use it legally, morally, I think it's fine. I actually like this music, okay? It's quite upbeat. It's simple to understand. If you didn't tell me, I didn't know it was done by AI, to be honest.
Yeah. Look, that's the goal. I mean, that is the goal, and that is because I was a musician, so I know song structure, I know music theory, I know where to put the words and where to put the choruses and how to make the harmonies sing and how to write about it, right? So that's I'm very pleased to say that you think that it sounds like a real song, because that's the goal, to make it sound
Yeah.
like a real song. But I have no desire to make money from this. And I do realize that we're right on the cusp of something very legally tenuous. You know, I've got mates of mine who are musos. We fight all the time. Right? What's your take on this, Heidi? I can hear you playing around there in the background. What are you thinking?
In terms of AI use, how much did you catch of me before when I was talking and you said it was kind of crunchy? Are you hearing me?
Who's watching the replay? Is it me? I think it's me. What was happening was it was popping after each word, like each word was popping.
Okay.
So now it's much cleaner, and you sound quite good. We were talking here about the idea of using AI to make a point. I can play songs. I had a recording studio. I can play keyboards and I can sing, sort of. But it would take me so long to make a song that good, and maybe it would be impossible for me. And all I'm doing is playing it on the show for a break at halftime, right?
Right.
And I'm really interested in where the line is now. You know, a lot of our friends have talked about this. Where is the line? What do you think?
Well, I think, like Ying said earlier, like it's just not black and white. There is, because I think, you know, when it comes down to, first of all, we can make it sound really great or look really great, but if we claim that it's 100% ours, there's a problem. And so I love that you acknowledge, like, hey, this is 100% AI created. I mean, I've, you know, given the input, but this AI has created this. I think where artists and musicians will struggle is if it takes away work from people that would otherwise have the work. And so I think that's, you know, one of those areas where it's like, okay, how do we make sure that there is still room for that creativity and for people to be able to sustain themselves? But I mean, there might not be a lot of people who want to write a short little jingle for, you know, very little money for a radio podcast, right? So
well, that's the premise I'm using. I'm very honest about it. I'm doing it.
Yep.
I can do it. I have done it. But
Yep.
it cost me thousands of dollars and a lot of time. And
well, and it feels to me kind of like what I was saying about like my AI use. Like I'm not great at coming up with titles, but I wouldn't hire someone to write titles for me. I would just have really sucky titles that nobody would read. And so, you know, having the ability to augment the parts that are just slogging work. And that's what I hear you saying is it saves you time because you wouldn't spend a whole bunch of hours creating this piece of music when you'd much rather be online talking, educating people, talking about sound. And that's where your passion lies. So I think that is one of those places where AI can be beneficial.
Yeah, it's a very good 2020s discussion because I'm not taking work away from someone because I wouldn't have paid them otherwise.
Right.
But I'll tell you one thing that's very interesting. Two things. One is when I've been doing this since 2006. So when I used to get interviewed on the radio, which I still do, but I do it differently. I used to send the file to someone, and they charged me $1 a minute to transcribe it.
Oh wow!
$1 a minute.
Wow.
And so I'm thinking, okay, I spoke on the radio for 60 minutes. It's all good, but that's $60.
Right.
$60. Sure,
Yeah.
I get a transcript all written down, but I can't spend $60 every time I go on the radio.
It's like a couple of books.
So the idea that I get a transcript now automatically with Substack, that's a very strong time saver and cost saver for me.
Yeah.
And so in a way, I have taken that job away from them. And I did apologize to them for that. But that's $60 of my money. I'm getting something now done for free, which is just as good. Probably even better because some of the translations, they didn't understand my words. So AI is taking money away from people, but it also saves us money in a world where if we don't do it, we're not competitive. It's a very fine line. It's a very fine line between these two scenarios. So,
well, and it's interesting because on the one hand, it takes money away from some places, but it's also created jobs in other places. And, you know, I think even as you said that, I think, oh, well, there's people running courses on how to use AI, right? Like jobs that were not there before AI was.
No, that actually is the actual right way to say it. Because in a world where by a single person is taking another job is created for another person who can fill that gap. I'm quite wondering what a truck driver.
I'm losing you, Keith.
Okay, so it's not just me. We couldn't hear you at all.
What happened? I've dropped out.
Well,
You
it
did?
sounded like there was like a car in the background, really loud.
For me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
okay.
couldn't
Let
hear
me
you.
just
You're better now.
adjust that.
Yeah, you're better now.
It might have been my internet. Let me just see if I can adjust that a little bit better. It might have been the dropout. Is that better?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
It's much better.
One of the things I'm very worried about is people that can't adjust.
Mm,
I mean, it's
mhm.
easy to say, "Oh, look, we're going to create a whole lot of other jobs over here," but someone who's a truck driver, whose job gets taken over by an electric truck that
Mm,
can refuel on the go
yeah,
and doesn't need a driver, well, what's that person going to do? I mean,
yeah.
they've driven trucks their whole life. They'd like driving trucks. They like being on the road and being by themselves and driving overnight. You know, what are
Yeah.
they going to do? So I'm very interested in this idea that automation is good, and maybe there is no right or wrong answer, and
Mhm.
we as humans need to embrace it, and some people will, and some people can, and some people can't, and some
Mhm.
people won't. But that's not our fault. And I just would love to hear your thoughts. I know in Canada there's a big push for driving on the highway with automation. Because I mean,
Mm.
how long would it take to get from Vancouver to Toronto? But probably 4 days.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe 5. Yeah.
someone's got to stop in Kamloops and Calgary and Montreal, and they've got to stop and they're away from their family. Sure, they make a lot of money, but they're driving trucks all day.
Yeah.
Slightly off topic, but it does pick up on the idea that AI could be taking jobs, and I think that's why Gen Z is so against it.
Mhm.
Would you say that, Ying? Is that why your kids are so against it, because they're scared that they won't have a job?
I thought
Oh, I
Ying
think
had,
Ying is gone. Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's just me and Carol Ann from what I can see.
Yeah. What's your take there, Carol Ann? I'm sorry, I've got someone on the line saying they've got a brand new Mayono, and I'm trying to get my head around it, trying to do two things at once.
Well,
What's your take on the idea?
I
You go.
think that it happens every 20 years, 20, 30 years, because okay, so I'm 61, and so when I first started school, we were using a manual typewriter. Do you remember that?
Mhm.
In school, we were using a manual typewriter. And so back in when I remember, we used to look at TV, and it was always, especially on I Love Lucy, they used to dictate. It used to be secretaries, and they would if they were a secretary, they would get a dictation from their boss. And so then we got the what is it? We went from that to word processing. So then shorthand was no longer needed. And then we moved into the computer age. And so then certain secretaries after a while was no longer needed when we got laptops, because people started just doing their own work. And so I just think progression of technology as it is. And so yeah, some of the jobs will be gone. But I believe like even some of the work that I used to get is kind of going out the window, but it's my responsibility to come up with something new that people still need, because we still need humans. And this, even though AI is taking over in different areas, we still need that human touch.
Yeah, I
So,
think you're right. And I'd be very interested to know about this. I often talk about the idea that there is parts of sort of evolution where we we come across these pieces of technology where lots of people argue that they're going to take jobs, and maybe they do.
Mhm.
But
in some
this
cases,
is not a unique position. This
No.
happened so I guess that's part of the discussion. What do we do to help those people that can't adjust? Well, I know Canada specifically, and some members of Australian society are talking about a UBI. This idea that if no one needs to work anymore, will we just get $100 a day from the government to pay our bills and go
Mm.
at it?
Wow, that's not enough. In
But you know,
most,
you know what I mean. Have you had any insight into that, Heidi, in Canada? I know it's a big discussion in the Scandinavian countries, but
Well, I can tell you it's a big discussion in my household because my kids are firm believers in there should be a universal living wage that like everyone should be able to live. That should be an across the board thing. And so, I mean, how that plays out, I'm sure they've got all sorts of ideas on what that looks like. But yeah, I know I read something recently where someone said, imagine if with AI coming in and with things changing, imagine if we got to a place where we could actually do the business of being human and creating and relationships and being present, all those things that AI can't do. And imagine if AI did all the stuff that we don't like doing or maybe don't want to do, or that takes up all our time and energy so that we have no time left to be creative or do some of these other things. And it's an interesting thought for sure. I
it,
mean,
it's not utopian, is it? I think it actually has a lot of merit
yeah.
because I was I was a musician, but I had a job, and I had to go to this really horrible job because I had to pay the rent,
Mm,
and I didn't want to go. I wanted to play music. I wanted to be a muso. I wanted to do that, but I couldn't make a lot of money out of my creative pursuits, so I had to do this really rubbishy job.
mm,
And many, many times my boss would say, look, you have to choose. I know you want to be a
no.
musician and you're out at night every night, but in the morning you have to come here and you have to be on time.
Mm,
Yeah, but I'm playing at night at 3 in the morning. I'm really tired. Yeah, well, I don't care about you being tired. You've got a job and you've been paid to do a job. And if you want to just quit your job and try and make music your job, but you can't. It's very difficult. So that's why. So let's talk more about this living wage idea. What might universally call a universal basic income. You know,
yeah.
sure you've got to work, but there should be a minimum, shouldn't there?
Mm. Yeah,
What?
it seems like I mean I know I've read some of the stats recently as well of if like there should be the capability for every person to be sustained, to have a place to live, and to have enough food to eat. We've got enough wealth around the world
Mm,
that
mm,
that
mm.
should be possible, and that to me is an interesting thought. Like I don't know how that I don't know how you make that happen, but there is something. I mean, we have a lot of unhoused everywhere,
Yeah.
and we have them here in Langley. We have lots in Vancouver, and I think, sometimes people make assumptions about, oh, well, people have no place to live because they blah, 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 whatever that is.
Poor people are
And
lazy. Well, that's it. Poor people are lazy,
right,
right? It's just
right.
rubbish.
Not recognizing the complexity of life and, physical disabilities can limit you. Mental challenges can limit you. Trauma that you've experienced that impacts your ability to live life well can affect you. And so someone who ends up living unhoused on the street is there because there are a number of different things that have happened to put them there. And so, to think about that, like yeah, it's one of those things where I would love to see people not have to be unhoused, for people not to have to worry about how they're going to feed their kids. Um, and yet the reality is a lot of people do have to worry about that. Um,
Is that still the problem in Canada as well?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
yeah. Canada and Australia share a sort of a humanitarian spirit when it comes
yeah,
to people.
yeah,
yeah.
We do look after our people, but there still are people living on the street in tents in the park,
yeah,
and that's a shock, isn't it?
yeah.
Do you think AI and automation will add to that? I don't think
Oh,
there's no way that it will help it, will it?
no, I don't see it helping it. Yeah, I think that's a human problem to solve.
But it is slightly utopian to think that wouldn't it be great if we could just focus on
Mhm.
being our creative pursuits or our the reason
Hmm.
we're here. Like
Yeah.
I'm not here to do a dead shit job in the city. Like
Yeah.
I need to do that dead shit job because I need to pay the rent. But I'm not here to just buy a house and do a shit job.
Yeah.
I've got bigger fish to fry. You know, I've got bigger goals than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be good if I could focus on those goals? Luckily, because I've been working 40 years, I now can.
Mm.
I worked it out. But what do you think? This is actually a very important point because Carol Ann works for not for profits and not for
Mm.
profits. So she works with not for profits. And what's your take on that, Carol Ann?
Yeah,
How does what we talk about work with the not for profit sector?
yeah. And so what, Keith, I don't think we ever spoke about the my volunteer work of what I do every Wednesday.
I
Have
would
we
love
ever?
to hear.
Wow.
Yeah. So every Wednesday, I volunteer with a group called the Fayetteville Area Inasmuch. And what they do is they house the homeless and those coming to prison. And so
Mm.
one of the programs I wrote in 2019, when I don't think we spoke about this either, I was invited to come into the men's prison because of the work I do as a consulting, starting businesses according to the dreams that people have in their heart, and then just helping them to move forward and teaching business concepts and all of that. Well, one day I was at a function for those formerly incarcerated men and women, and they were finding out information about expungement. And this warden, a couple of wardens from this facility here in South Carolina, I'm in North Carolina, they came to my table and they said, "Will you come and speak to the men at our prison?"
Mm.
And I said, "Sure." Have I ever told you this?
You did it. They locked you in, and they said, "Look, you better hurry because if you don't get your stamp, you're staying here tonight."
Okay. Yeah, and so when I said yes, and they said, "Are you scared?" And I was like, "No, you have security, right? So I'll go." But, long story short, they, because of the work I was teaching them in that one day, they asked me to write the book. They wanted my notes because when you go
Mm-hmm.
into prison, you get nothing. You go in by yourself with nothing, no ID, no rings, nothing. And so they literally do strip search you, other than the clothes you have on your back. And from that, what I've been doing is teaching the program that I wrote for the prison to homeless men and formerly incarcerated men. So this organization is in the midst of building cottages the for the veterans here. We have a lot of
Mm.
homeless veterans, as where I'm at is actually home to one of the largest United States military. So that's my involvement with the nonprofit sector. In addition to that, I do teach nonprofits grant management. I write grant. I'm in the middle of writing a lot of grants right now. I just have this large knowledge for that. And
Oh,
I
that's
guess that's
amazing.
where my heart is, teaching nonprofits how to, move forward.
One of
Mm.
the things that's very interesting about that, very, very interesting. Hello, Cynthia. I'll bring you in a minute if you want to join. Um, the idea that you work for a not for profit. Now, I've worked for not for profits, and not for profits don't have a lot of spare money.
No,
So, in reality, AI could actually fill in quite a lot of those gaps. And I'm wondering, is AI a good use case for not for profits, or does it contravene sort of the purpose of a not for profit? Does it sort of create some moral issues?
it could if they knew what they were using AI for. So, in order for them to understand how to use AI, they actually have to know how it works. And so, if they're missing that foundational piece to help, you got to know. You see, the problem with them using AI is that they don't know what they don't know, and that's the problem. So if AI goes wonkers, they wouldn't know how to fix it because they don't have the foundation of what's needed that a funder needs to see in order to have a successful get approved. So there are some components missing with that. And when I wrote the book for fundraising, I didn't put it in there because it's complex, it's very technical, and people
Yeah, the reason
have
I
to
mention that is
understand.
because I know a few grant writers, and the biggest thing they complain about is it just takes so much time.
Yeah.
So hard to do, and I'm
Yeah.
just wondering. My brain says, well, surely that's the perfect use case for AI. I mean, if we
But it's
can
not,
make this
it
easier,
doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't work that way because it's so. And then the other side is the human part was taken out. So on the other side, a foundation can look at a paper and say, this is AI. Do these people even know what they're talking about? Because
okay,
they got AI to write it. But if we give you $1 million, can you really spend it? Because they look at the grant application as a form of who they are, and now you're using AI, so now you're cheating the system that they've been using to judge whether a nonprofit warrants such money, and so it can come against them
yeah, I
if
can
they
see
don't
your point.
know what they're talking of. If they don't know what they're talking about, or if it's a one person show, they're going to fail the I would fail them. I wouldn't give them a penny if I saw that they were using AI and they really couldn't answer the questions that I'm needing. And then the other, it's usually a two-part. You do the proposal writing, and usually there is a site visit to see what the organization is actually doing. So it's something about an organization showing up on your doorsteps. You can't fake because they're there to see what's really going on. And so
Yeah,
it's hard. It's really hard. It's like the fluff. You could, like, I could read through fluff if an organization is dancing in the proposal writing because it's not going to pinpoint exactly what I need. So I don't think it will work that way, though. If you're an experienced grant writer like I am, I do use AI to help me with the grant writing now, but I'm writing books on it at this point. So it's just very
what's your take on
interesting.
this? What's your take on this, Heidi? Have you spent some time in the not-for-profit world, or do you know much about the charity work that a lot of people do? Because a lot of it is very, very human and very time-consuming, and
Hmm.
and it's a very double-edged sword. On one hand, it does save time, but
Yeah,
then people conceive it to be cheating. But there's only so many hours in the day, and you want to spend time with your kids, and you want to eat and sleep and go for a run. Don't want to be
yeah.
spending a whole life on the computer. What do you think the middle ground is?
Well, I keep going back to the word tool, like using it as an assistant. And, and as you were talking, Carol Ann, about grant writing, I mean, I'm like, wow, I need you in my life because I've been thinking,
Here
how do I
I
write a
am.
grant? Yeah,
Yeah,
here
here
you
I
are.
am.
I've never written a grant, and yet I'm a therapist in my paid work, and I love the work, and I don't intend to be not doing the work. But for the last long while, I've been putting so many hours into my paid work that I don't have as much time and energy left for some of the creative work. And so I'm intentionally stepping back this September. I've cut my hours by a little, like by about 8 hours a week in an effort to create more space. And, part of that is I wonder if there's some grants that I could get. I have been involved with, in the nonprofit world. When I first started out as a therapist, I worked for a nonprofit counseling group. Um, we've also been involved with a number of different organizations, my partner and I, in terms of like at a leadership level. And so, familiar with how much volunteer work goes into making it run. And I think about like that grant writing process. Yeah, you can't get AI to write the grant for you, but you could get AI to do a search to see what grants could we be eligible for. And again, that would be some of that legwork that takes time, and you still have to check it. So my husband is he's technical. He works with computers. He works for a credit union, and he does use AI for research, but he is very intentional about when it gives him an answer saying, tell me how you got that answer. What websites did you use? What rationale did you use? And really checking it so that it is information gathering rather than decision making. And I think, Carol Ann, as you were talking about the grants, that's what it sounds like. Like if the nonprofit, not-for-profit group were to use AI, use it in those ways to maybe gather information or to collect data, but don't rely on it to do the job for you, because once you do that, again, you're losing the human. And like that, I remember one of my early pieces that I published, somebody commented and said something like, oh, it's so nice to read something written by a human. And I was like, okay, I guess,
Yeah.
not realizing that there were a lot of people who were using AI to do writing for them. And it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And I think there is something, I mean, the whole, my kids have a massive records collection. And, some of my younger clients are excited about DVDs and CDs. And it's like, yeah, the more digital we get, the more people want to go back to some of the earlier forms of things that have some humanity to them. And
Yeah.
so I don't think we're ever going to lose the need for that. I think it's just going to look different. And yeah, it's about figuring out how to use the tool without losing the humanity.
I totally agree.
That's it.
We've
Yeah.
had some comments on the show in the crowd that people are fascinated by what you're talking about. So can I just give you a couple of minutes to gather your thoughts and tell us how we can contact you and how we can help you? I'll just play a little sound. And now a word from our sponsor. So Heidi, how do we contact you? I'll put this in the show notes. How do we contact you, and what's the best way to help you do what you're doing?
Well, you can find me. My website is encouragementalongthejourney.com. You can link to all my various places from there. I am on Instagram and Facebook as Heidi Giesbrecht Counseling. I'm on Substack as Heidi Wall Giesbrecht.substack.com. I write encouragement along the journey there as well. My podcast is also called Encouragement Along the Journey, conveniently. Yeah, and honestly, I mean, what I am loving in terms of my creative endeavors is my writing is reflective writing. I write based on my own life. I've described it as an art exhibition of the thoughts in my head. So whatever happens to inspire me this week, that's what I write about.
Yeah.
And so, grief, neurodiversity, unschooling, parenting, figuring yourself out, who am I, just lots of different topics. And I'm really intentionally trying to create a space on Substack that feels like a community, where it's about being real. Authenticity is one of my huge values that I live by. Like, who you hear me as here is who you would meet in my counseling room, at my dinner table. And that's something that I really take seriously. And so, yeah, I'm actually in just over a week, I'm going to be releasing my post, which is all about my vision. So if anyone's curious, I would say subscribe on Substack and you will be able to read a little bit more about it. You can also read lots in my About page.
Perfect. Now you've mentioned that you've got a podcast. How do you do that? Is it a solo show? Do you have guests? So what's your format for podcasting?
Well, refer to aforementioned art exhibit of the thoughts in my head. My podcasting, everything about me is hard to define. Like, Spotify tried to give me my, year unwrapped, and it placed my age at 99 because it said I was hard to define. So my podcast, there are some clips that are 10 minutes of me just offering some encouragement. There are some episodes that are me interviewing a group of people. There are some episodes that are me and one other person. It's a lot of variety. I love variety in my life, and I have variety in my podcasting and in my writing.
No, that's good. And can you see yourself using Substack Studio, getting back to the theme of the day? Have you tried it? Do you think that might work for you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I use the Substack Live, and I definitely need to go figure out what some of the options are in terms of the studio piece. Like I love, I love learning more about this. So much of it seems to be me falling into it kind of because I'm curious.
Yeah. Well, what we're going to do, what I've worked out my job in the world is to try all these new things. So
Yeah.
I spent July pulling apart Substack Studio, and now I'm doing August to talk about it.
Cool.
Substack Studio is quite good for what it is. But what we're going to do in September is we're going to compare Google Meet with Restream. And those discussions are already in the community. So there's several discussions going on. We'll come back to that a bit later. But Carol Ann, how do we contact you? And what's the best way to help you with your journey?
Well, do you give phone numbers? Do you want phone numbers?
Wow.
I have an 800 number, and anyone can reach that. But is that something you do, or you want the Substack handle that I use?
Well, it's very interesting because about 62% of my listeners are in the US. So I'm sure you don't want to people calling in from Argentina.
Well, I'm
So
not
the
answering
1-800.
immediately. Yeah, but yeah. So my Substack handle is Sincere Hope 365.
Ah, yeah,
Yeah,
I love
and
that.
yeah, and
Sincere hope.
my yeah, Sincere Hope, and my website is yougotdreams.com.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, yeah. So it serves as three. I cannot give you the other. I when I created that website, I was dealing with a lot of fear, and so I had nightconsulting.com, but don't go there. Because in between my fear, I canceled the website and someone else got it. It was a good website for a porn site. So the website that I have is night.consulting, and do not put a .com to that. And so, but that's three ways to reach me.
Yeah, well, yougotdreams.com. That is so good. And the U is a U, as in the letter U. Yeah.
I have actually I
You
own
got
this
both.
one, the YOU, the U, and the Night dot Consulting. So all three of those goes to the same website.
Yeah. It's very easy to understand. Yougotdreams.com. You know,
Yes.
I'm seriously thinking of buying the URL. Teach me like I'm 12.
Love it.
Do it. Yes,
Because
do it.
I need simplicity. Okay, stop using acronyms. You know what you're talking about, but tell me like I'm 12.
Yeah.
Talk to
Yes.
your grandson, right? You know, you sound so clever when you talk to me. I'm talking to my mates who are, dudes. But you sound so clever to yourself, but only you know what you're talking about, and you make me feel stupid. That's not my fault. I'm not stupid. You just can't explain this very simple thing to me in simple language. Stop using acronyms. Teach me like I'm 12. I'm really, really seriously going to buy that URL.
That's
Because,
awesome.
isn't it? We need that. And so yougotdreams.com says everything. And
It does.
encouragement along the journey. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It tells you exactly what it's about. Yesterday, we did this really long conversation, and someone said, "Oh, my URL is MRR Max." Well, what does that mean? How am I going to remember that? Monthly recurring revenue max.
Oh, I would not remember that.
How am I going to remember that? And his argument was, if you were into this, you would know what I'm talking about. You would remember it. If you can't remember it, you are not my client.
Now, if he had said MR Max, that would have been perfect because it could have been Mr. Max.
Mixer Max.
Easy to remember. Yeah, easy to remember.
Monthly recurring. Monthly revenue maxed out. you know. But MRR, and we had this really good discussion about niching. Like he said, if you knew what that meant, you are my client. If I have to explain to you what that means, you're not my client. So
That's not a
you,
good rationale to me, so yeah, not to me. It's
he didn't
something
have.
that people, I'm sorry.
No, this is good. This is a very good. Why do I keep returning here while uploading phone spoofs? I don't know. You're welcome to come and join us if you want. We're still going. But I love this. You got dreams.com and also the you and encouragement along the journey. These are very clear. My
Yes.
website is globalsocialmediacoaching.com. Very clear, long but clear. Global social media coaching. I live in Melbourne. My clients are global. I talk about social media. Very clear. No bullshit acronyms where I have to guess what you're talking about. Very, 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 very clear. And that one came from a friend of mine on the road who needed to know what you guys were doing. And my friend Americo, who's actually on the road, does this with QR codes. I'm not sure if you've seen that done, Carol Ann. Have you seen people say, just click on the QR code on the screen and it'll bring the website up? You ever tried that?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have it for mine, but I've used it.
Oh, yeah, well, that was the question I was going to ask. Have you used it? Because I
Yeah,
think,
I
oh,
have
that's a
used
pretty looking symbol, but don't
Yeah.
make me get my phone out.
See, this is I have youngins in my house, and so when I redesigned my business cards, my daughter was like, "Mom, you've got to have a QR code on your business card," and I'm like, "I don't know how to do that." So, yeah, they showed me how to do it, and my card now has a QR code. So
Yeah.
I'm cool like that, Keith.
Yeah, this is very, very good. This is good.
Yeah.
If you don't know, you are not for you. Is not this is a really good discussion. MRR Max, and the guy said, "Well, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're not the right person for me." Okay, I actually understand that rationale, but it's a bit brutal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It is. He hurts people before he meets them. That could be insulting almost. So,
what actually happened was really interesting discussion. In fact, I've got a really cool graphic. Were you on that call yesterday, Carol Ann? I think Jessica was on it.
not. Yeah.
I'll show you this cool graphic that Americo got for us. And he brought in this random person who I didn't know. And I wasn't his target market because I just wasn't interested in what he was talking about. But here's what we did. Look at this. This is America. This is AI. But look at how he did it. It looks bloody brilliant. That's all of the people in the room in one little graphic. We talked about school and we talked about Substack. And what happened there, talking about this idea, was that he had a school website, but he wasn't on LinkedIn. And I'm thinking, well, how do I talk to you? He says, well, go to my website and email me. Yeah, but I want to talk to you. How do I talk to you? Oh, I don't use social media. Just go to school and the email will be there. And if you don't have a school account, well, obviously I can't help you because I talk about school. And I got his rationale, but it was a very brutal. Like it was very there wasn't a soft landing. Like you might one day need me and here's what I'm doing. If you don't need me, don't call me. And lovely guy, but just a bit one-dimensional, I thought, in his approach to marketing. But he was a computer engineer and he was using a lot of acronyms. So, I had a bit of
know, I guess. I guess only he needed to know what they stood for, so
That's right.
in his mind, he thought it's just not user friendly.
User friendly. Yeah. Anyway, it's all part of the fun. Now, we've been chatting for about 3 hours.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? I reckon we'll wrap it up.
Sounds good.
I might go and watch another episode of Murder in a Small Town.
Yes.
Which is filmed just up the road from you or over the river, yeah?
Yes, just across the inlet from me. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can get a ferry and go to Gibson's.
You bet.
You don't know what I'm talking about, Carol Ann, but there's this very, very cool show on Netflix.
It's a lot of fun.
Called Murder in a Small Town. And it's a sort of a whodunit, but it's done in a Canadian way and they don't have a lot of guns and there's not much gore. and sometimes we get a bit sick of that. It's like a story, but the guy, yeah, was that a fair assessment?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, a very quirky one, but
Yeah,
you know,
and it's called Murder in a Small Town, and it's set in this town called Gibsons, which is a real town.
it is.
Wow.
About what 100 k's from Vancouver, maybe.
Yeah, gosh, I'd have to look on the map, but probably, yeah, probably about that.
Cutesy. And so every time I talk to a Canadian, my first question is, "Are you from Gibsons? You know where Gibsons is? You heard of this show? And you've all heard of it. You've all heard of
Yeah.
it. Must be pretty famous there." Yeah, it must be pretty famous. So
I guess it must be. I mean, we love quirky shows. We watch like all the quirky British mysteries, and we watch a bunch actually from Australia and New Zealand, and it's fun.
have you heard of Broken Wood Mysteries?
Yes, we watch that one as well.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
Well, you're a sister from another mister.
Yeah, exactly.
I love those whodunits because they challenge me, and they always leak out this very cool, mysterious person in the first 10 minutes, and we look at each other and go, "She did it." Yeah, I reckon she did it. But it's a tease, right? Because they
Right.
never ever is them. Right at the last minute, last 5 minutes, you go, "Wow, the butler did it. I would never have got that." Right, and that's the fun of watching these shows the first time, trying to guess who did it.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
and the
kids
story
hate
that
to watch. My kids hate when I watch those movies because if it's on YouTube, I can't. There's a point where you just cannot. I cannot take the suspense. So when they're not looking, I fast forward it to the end, and then I keep on. Terrible. I can't help it.
oh
Oh
wow,
no.
who did it? Oh
Oh
wow,
yes,
who
and
did it?
then I bring it back to where we were, and they was like, "You already know." Right? I was like, I couldn't help it, and so I just need to.
There was a show on Netflix called The Residents. I don't know if you've seen it, Heidi.
Yeah. Yeah, we're watching that one as well.
You're watching it. It's got you'll hate this. It's 8 parts.
Oh man. Yeah,
Carol-
we're not there
Caroline.
yet.
8 parts. I'm not telling you anything about it, but there's an
Oh,
Aussie in it. Like there's several Aussies in it. They play a very good role. And at the end of the first part, they go, "Okay, come back tomorrow. There's more." All right. How many more? 8 more. There's 8 parts, Carol Ann. It was murder. Pardon the pun. It was really hard, but it was a payoff at the end. Are you enjoying it, Heidi?
We are. Yeah.
Yeah. It's set in the White House, and the basic idea is one of the people dies, and this very clever detective has to work out who it is. But she's quirky, and she plays the long game, bloody long game, and it takes 8 episodes to get to the answer. We almost gave up on it. It was so long, but anyway, I might go and watch another episode of that, have a bit of lunch, and you're welcome on this show any time at all.
Thank you.
And what I'm doing in September, and I'd love you to be part of this, is I'm now going to test Google Meet and Restream from the point of view that several of the subscribers are thinking, well, we're subscribing. Can we get extra? Can we get more? I've been thinking they subscribe, they help me out. I might as well give them something extra. So in September, I'm going to be trying Google Meet versus Restream to see which of those formats would suit a more personal discussion, because this one is live on LinkedIn and YouTube and Substack, but not everyone is up for being live and out in the open, right?
Yeah.
But Google Meet, which allows for 100 people, but it's not live, so it's an enclosure. Right? Restream only allows for 10 people, but this is Restream. It's much more sort of inclusive.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'd love you to be part of that. What's your thoughts on this, Carol Ann? You were saying that you wouldn't mind trying Google Meet. You've heard of it, and you wouldn't mind trying it.
Won't mind. We'll see when I actually try it. I'm going through some how do you do that when you looking at different things that's going on in your life, and I'm just reformatting the way I do this periodically, and so it's just a matter of time and position, of
Mm-hmm.
when I'm going to be able to get on it. But
Yeah, it's all part of the fun. But
I'm interested.
I've worked out my rhythm is that on 1 month I do live shows, and live shows are the thing, but they are exhausting.
Mm.
And 1 month, the other month I research all of the things to talk about on the following series. So this is part 2 of what I'm calling Substack Studio Spotlight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a song, the theme song, and I'll wrap it up. We've been going for about 2.5 hours. I reckon that's a good solid go at it. And next week we'll come back with part 3.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me.
Yes,
Well-
thank you.
We'll see you later.
All righty. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. Used to juggle apps all night, Zoom calls, edits, nothing felt right. Export this, but don't do that. Too many steps, too many hats. Now I hit record and breathe. Everything I need's in front of me. From my screen to what I say, it's all in one place. One click away, no more stress, no delay. I create my way. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. Solo talk or bring a friend. 2 more voices we can blend. Screen share for the things I show. Walk them through it nice and slow. Logo sitting in the frame. Watermark with my name. No more tools to complicate. Everything just integrates. Draft appears when I'm done. Creation just got fun. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. No more record, export, upload. That old workflow had to go. Now it's simple, fast, and clean. All inside one single screen. Desktop set, I press and play. Build my audience every day. From my voice to what they see. This is how it's meant to be. 10 subscribers, you're in the game. 1080 clarity, crisp and plain. Audio mode, yeah, that's there too. Podcast streams are coming through. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the Substack